Hello, everyone, all of you awesome fair streamers. We are absolutely here for the cause. We want to elevate voices. We want to bring diverse talent together and really talk about the things that are most important. And that is diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging, absolutely. So my name is Ava KB. I work here with Progressive Leasing as the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Program Manager. But to kick us off, I'd like to share a video with you about our organization and tell you a little bit about us. So go ahead, get started. And as I'm preparing to share this, we have some fabulous guests today. So at the end of this, we'll talk more about who's here to represent Prog Leasing at this awesome Latinx tech event. With that being said, let's move. Welcome to Progressive Leasing. We've been around for more than, over 2 decades now, and we are strong. We are a publicly traded company, and we are so proud to be here today. I could talk and go on and on and on, but I'd love to introduce some of our guests to you today. And these guests work within our organization. Today, we have with us Jorge Benitez. Jorge is, although he works in our sales department, and we do know that this is Latinx tech, we are a fintech organization, but that does take a lot of other players, a lot of other people that join our organization and really make it beneficial. Jorge is one of our co-leads to our Latinx Employee Resource Group, Adelante. He partners with Josie Marinov, who is also one of our co-leads to our Latinx ERG. Last but certainly not least, we have here, and we're really excited to have Jay Ford with us, who is the Senior Quality Engineer. So Jorge is a Senior Manager of Sales, Josie is the Senior Director of Enterprise Risk Management, and Jay Ford, our Senior Quality Engineer. We have these great, talented people here today to talk to us a little bit about Progressive Leasing, what it is, how we impact our people, our workplace, and our presence in the community, and what it means to be a part of Prog Leasing. So with that being said, I'd like to start out by just really introducing Jorge. Jorge, I know that when we talked about this event, you were on it, manipulating schedules, changing things around. You're like, I am going to be there. Tell us a little bit about your journey. A lot of the people on this call today are going to be looking for jobs or looking for a place to belong. Tell us a little bit about your journey and what it means for you to work here at Prog Leasing.
Hey, thank you for the kind introduction, Ava. I'm an immigrant myself. I came from Mexico. I got here when I was about 2 years old, and just being a first-time graduate from high school, first person in my family to graduate from high school, first person to graduate from college, first person to get outside of the labor-intensive workforce made a big difference for me. And so my motivation has always been to continue to provide just a strategy and a direction for family members to come, and not just family members, but those around me. And so being a part of Progressive has been a blessing. It's an opportunity for us to really create a difference in the world and to offer advice to those that are coming in. And so when Ava invited me to the job fair, it was very, very easy for me to say yes and clear my schedule. I think that when you're looking to grow, you need to bring someone along with you, and nobody gets to where they are today without somebody else. And so it's a great way of paying it forward and paying it back. So with that being said, Progressive as an organization is amazing. They really stand by the customer and their communities. And when you're working at Progressive, you can really see the day to day. And the reason we are a part of the Adelante ERG is because we want to make sure we provide value for our customers. When you think about Progressive as a whole, our customer base is very centered around this product, and they need the necessity, right? I grew up in a household of 5, and so we didn't have the latest and greatest. We only had what we could afford at the moment. So Progressive offers the opportunity for customers to not only get what they need, but also the things they want and the things they deserve. We all deserve a great experience. So that's the reason why I'm excited to be here. I think it's an amazing opportunity to have you join us. And if you have any questions, we're here to answer them.
Awesome. So you started with your diversity story, Jorge. What has been the biggest challenge? You said that you came here as an immigrant from an immigrant family. So from that space, what would you say has been the most challenging and the most rewarding part of your experience along the way?
The most challenging for me has to be the barriers, right? When you come into a country where, it's not your first language and your family's, education isn't the same, right? It's always one of those things where when you see it every day, it's possible. And when you don't see it every day, you're kind of questioning what is possible and what's the opportunity. Even though it is the biggest challenge, it's also been the biggest reward, right? Knowing that you're clearing paths, knowing that you're making, a door through the barrier and making sure that people to come after you are going to be able to follow. It's very rewarding. I'm one of those people that enjoys the success of others more than I enjoy my success. And I truly mean it. I think that I had a teacher in high school that really stood out to me. She said, hey, if you reach for the stars, you may not necessarily land in the stars, but you're going to be out in outer space. You're still going to be out of this world. And that's essentially one advice that sticks to me wholeheartedly. It's how do we aim for things that are bigger and better than those that we know? And even by aiming for those things, even if you fall a little short, just know you've made a change and you're being successful. So I think that's the rewarding aspect of it, is all the new things in the world that we're getting to show our kids, we're getting to show our community. That's where it's coming from.
Thank you, Jorge. Thank you. As a friendly reminder, if you have any questions for our panelists, or if you have any questions, just go ahead and put those in the chat and we will get those questions answered. Hi, Josie, how are you? Tell us a little bit about your diversity story. And I know that you have taken sort of a different path. Tell us more about it.
Yeah, so I think I actually have probably a similar path to Jorge in a way. So I myself also an immigrant, daughter of an immigrant family as well. I was born in the Dominican Republic and I came here when I was 7. And similar, just a very labor intensive family of immigrants where, you really are just working to put food on the table the next day and the next month and pay the rent, right? You're not really thinking about vacations or really above and beyond that, right? You're not thinking about retirement. You're not thinking about all of these things that we typically kind of really do have to worry about, right? I was, able to, there was just something always in me, and maybe it was the way I was raised or whichever way it was, but I just knew that education was the way out. And I was just very hyper-focused on it. And I had, my mom was very supportive of it, even though she's like, I have no clue what you're doing, but I'm going to trust that. She literally was like, I have no clue. And my friends are telling me I shouldn't let you do this and I shouldn't let you go away to college, but I'm going to trust this. I'm going to let you go, and I'm grateful for that, because I know that was very difficult for her as an, immigrant who doesn't speak the language here, doesn't understand this concept of even going away to college and living there. And then I think by by the element of that, my younger sister, who's about 6-7 years younger than I am, and then, and then my brother, who's 10 years younger than I am, they just followed because the way they saw me doing it, it was not really a choice. You go to college, right? And I'm very proud of them for that, because they pulled themselves up by the bootstrap and did it themselves as well. Being at Progressive, I think, gives me an opportunity to give back. So serving the underserved, again, my immigrant story, I remember not having any money and needing a couch for a new apartment. And we had to put it on layaway, and we didn't have a car. We would walk to the store to give, $100 a week down or whatever it was until we finished paying it off and could bring that couch home, right? So we lived in this, apartment for like 6 months without, any couches, right? So when I think about that, the mission of Progressive really, really resonates with me. And I feel like I truly, truly understand just how important the product that we offer is to our customer base. So that answers your question.
Yes. So as we talk about the product that we offer, a lot of people may still be confused. What is the product that
Jorge's in sales, so he probably can, he's going to articulate it much better than I am.
Tell us about it, because when we talk about the product, and I'll go back to you on this as well, Jorge, because we also work with different retailers. What is that product exactly?
Hey, thank you for the question, Ava. We're a financing company, and we're a tertiary option for our customer base. What that means is, a customer comes into the store, they apply for your traditional credit lines like Synchrony, Citi. They may not necessarily get approved because they don't have a credit score, or the credit score may be a little lower than expected. What we offer them is an opportunity to come in and make simple and affordable payments so that they can get that product and they can start enjoying it today versus, in the past, layaway, like Josie alluded to, they would have to pay off the whole thing and then go get the merchandise. The great thing about Progressive is we're innovators in a lot of areas. And so when you think about, who needs a lease or who utilizes lease tone, a lot of our customers are immigrants as well. And so they don't have a social security to go and apply for a traditional credit card. And so with Progressive, the nice thing is, as long as they have a bank account and they have an ITIN number, they're able to apply and qualify for it. And so that's what makes us unique.
So, and then the fintech piece is kind of the algorithm and the technology that allows us to help progress our customers along. This is a great segue for Mr. J. Ford. So those of you who are on this call, a lot of you are probably thinking, okay, but I'm in technology and I really want to know more about what it's like in the technology space. Hi, Jay, how are you? Thank you for joining us today.
Doing great, thanks for having me.
Thank you. So, Jay, tell us about your role and kind of what that looks like for someone who is in technology. Do they have to live here? Do they have to be here? What is it like in that technology space?
Yeah, so I feel like I've kind of lived 2 lives now, at least in technology. So I was hired almost 3 years ago, back when everyone was still working in the office. So I got my first taste of working right alongside everyone. It was a lot of fun. It still is. It looks different now. At that time, I was living in Utah, so just a couple miles really from the office. And I got to know my team. So my team, we have been called somewhat different names, but primarily go by customer care. So we primarily support our internal operations center with hundreds of call center operations agents using a program we call Tink that lets them interface with our customers. So they call in with varied questions and our ops agents are able to support them. So it's a big job. It can feel overwhelming at times that any changes we make can affect hundreds of agents, and interacting with thousands, if not millions of customers over time. And so I find it somewhat unique in the sense that I get an inside view of it. So with my primary role as a quality engineer, I work alongside programmers or developers, and we have numerous diverse roles on our team as well. Everything from a product owner to database engineer to engineering managers, even designers. So we operate in sprints in typically 2-week periods where we look at, okay, here is what we have implemented. Here is what we're looking to implement in terms of new features, updates, even defect or bug fixes. So we're always looking at what are ways we can improve, with the overall quality of the products, especially our internal program that our customers in the sense of operations agents use. So a lot of my day-to-day is working closely with our development team and planning out, okay, what test scenarios we need. A big part of my job is loading the programs and acting as if I'm one of the operations agents, for example, and utilizing that and clicking around and going through these different scenarios, these different flows in the program in order to, one, look for confirmation or validation that, okay, this feature is working according to what we expect, with the requirements from our business partners, the business analysts, the business side saying, this is how we need it to work. And maybe even more importantly, me looking for what isn't working according to what we expect, whether that's an obvious error or just, hey, this feature isn't returning the data or returning the results that we're looking for. And then basically going through cycles of writing bug reports, working closely, with the developers at the code level to get that fixed. And ultimately, at the end of the day, it's about us finding these issues first in the service of making, higher quality product and just making a better experience both for our ops agents, which translates directly into the customers, ultimately having a better experience.
Awesome. So as we talk about having a better experience, and I'll put this out to any of you, all of you are part of what we call our EBRGs, or our employee business resource groups for our organization. That's Latinx. I'll let you guys tell us a little bit about that, but I do know that there are a couple of key initiatives as well as we talk about the customer experience, really focusing on our ERGs internally. What does that look like? Because we definitely have a culture that is supportive of all of our employees. So can one of you talk about the ERG and what that is like? So if someone was to join our organization and wanted to have a sense of belonging, what does that look like? And then I'd also like to maybe talk about that customer experience. So what does it feel like internally from the ERG, and how is the ERG impacting that customer, or in Spanish, experience? That's a loaded question.
I'll start off with the ERG aspect of it and how they can support the associates, and then I'll transition it over to Josie for the experience, just because she's been working on a pretty cool project. But look, the importance of an ERG group within the organization, it goes back to what we kind of spoke about at the beginning, right? A sense of belonging and being able to cross paths with people like Jay, for example, who works in a completely different department than myself. We would no other way or no other form of contact other than the ERG. And so it allows you to really see different paths, right? Like you can come in as a product developer and then maybe come into contact with somebody else and say, I like the risk aspect of things. Why I can transition over that. So we can connect people and make sure that from a career path, you're supported as well, right? They always say that it's kind of hard to get to where you're going if nobody else looks like you or acts like you. And so this sense of belonging is very crucial in your career development. And I think that Ava has done a great job of implementing this across the board for the organization. But the ERG is where it starts. And I think it becomes that home away from home when you're working, when you need support, right? You can't come back home to your house and ask, your parents or your grandparents, hey, how do you, what do you think about this? They may not have that specific, unique skill set of it. The other nice thing about the ERG is it highlights a lot of our successes as a community. And what I mean by that is we're different, we're unique, right? How do we utilize that to improve and increase the performance of what our customer gets? And that's where I'll bring Josie in, because we're actually working on some really exciting things, and she's a part of that. So.
Thanks, Jorge. So I'll kind of follow up a little bit with that. For me, just the ERG itself, so I work remote. I've actually worked remote for a long time, even in my previous career. And this is the first time that I've actually joined a company while being remote. The ERGs have provided me with a platform to get to know people. I don't feel like I work remote because I've only been with Progressive for a year, but I have met so many people, particularly through my ERG journey. Jorge and I would probably never come across each other in our day-to-day, right? Or Jordan or Jay, potentially, right? So meeting people like that through the ERG has just made a very big difference in my experience at Prague. That said, with Adelante, which is our Latinx ERG, one of the things, we are in a very unique position as an ERG. And one of the things we're trying to prove is, how do we leverage the Adelante or the ERG platform to help clearly, obviously, our employees are important and it fosters a sense of belonging. But in order to continue fostering that sense of belonging, how can we create opportunities and leverage Adelante as a platform to help inform the customer experience, right? How do we tap into, right? If you kind of think about it, there's a lot of money that companies pay to go and get those types of insights, right? They hire third-party companies, they run focus groups and so forth. We have a lot of those insights inside our company, inside our corporation, right? How do we tap into that? What are the different mechanisms that we can create to potentially link the Adelante platform to different areas of the business so that we can make an impact? And, and we also want to be data-driven. So we've got to dig and dig and dig. We've already found some data. We're digging in another direction to find more data, but there might also be opportunities to set up mechanisms to gather data that doesn't exist today. So really, really kind of trying to tap into the ERG platform as a way to inform the customer experience and how we better serve our customers. If that answers your question, Eva.
Yeah, that's a fabulous link between the customer and our employees, as well as really connecting to our communities at large, which I know that as an organization, we currently have 4 ERGs. We have Women in Leadership, we have our Pride organization, our Black Inclusion Group, and Latinx, and we are just really a year and a half, 2 years into it. So we have other ERGs that will be growing, and we are about at time. So I would like for each of you, if you have one piece of advice that you can give job seekers, what they should do, what they should look like or look for in joining an organization, or just one piece of advice, what would that be? And we'll just do a quick roundtable. Just one thing, what would you say? We'll start with you, Jorge, and Josie, and in with you, Jay.
The one piece of advice I would give is luck. We know, not everybody can have the experience right away, but just be proactive, right? That 1 hour of research with what the organization does and is looking to accomplish will set you up for success.
Awesome. Thank you.
I would say the one piece of advice is to just, for me, it's, think outside the box. Don't just, walk into a new job and thinking about, I'm going to do my job, right? Look for, if you have ideas, get them out there, talk to people outside of your organization, your organization within a company, right? Create those relationships. Casual relationships are invaluable. You can literally grab somebody and say, hey, I'd love to chat and get to know you a little bit more. I just joined this company, or I've been here for a year. And you can literally just set up a 30-minute coffee chat. It's amazing how open people are to that. And you can use those 30 minutes and not talk about work at all. So I think that's how you really form those relationships at work. And that, I think, is going to be, an invaluable skill set, because it is a skill set. It's not easy, but it is a skill set that will serve you so well in your future.
Yeah, I would say really look into yourself and identify what are your talents, what are your passions, what do you really enjoy, and whether that's in sales or tech or whatever the department, whatever role you want to go for, especially when you're interviewing and even after you get hired, really go for what is it that makes that special that I can contribute. And just along with that, for me, I still think of, what are ways I can improve. I've been doing quality assurance for 17 years now. And the longer I'm in, the more I realize, the more I have to learn. So also just always work on ways to improve. There are so many resources out there where you can continually grow and improve. And that will help both yourself and those around you.
Awesome. Thank you. So we have literally like 2 minutes, probably more like a minute and a half. And there are a couple of questions. Hi, Cheryl. Thank you for joining. I see someone in the chat, but there are a couple of questions, and this is going to be lightning round, 1 minute. We're going to get it in as much as we can. What do you enjoy the most about your job and the least? Quick, 2 words. Jorge.
Flexibility and learning environment.
Josie.
Yeah, I would say, flexibility is also the one I enjoy. Haven't really figured out the least, so go, Jay.
Learning / experience and time constraints, especially when it comes to projects and getting those released.
Awesome. I am going to join in on this one because I am going to say the people and the employee resource groups and the supportive environment and place of belonging and opportunity to grow, which is more than 2 words. Sorry, you guys, I took advantage of that time. Okay, really quick. And we have just a few minutes or a few seconds. What does it take for a candidate with to no experience to be? I see you nodding, Jorge.
Experience, like I said, experience isn't always the most important. It's being trainable, coachable, and just enthusiastic about things. And so in a job interview, if one of the skill sets you're looking for is hard work, it doesn't necessarily have to be experienced hard work. It can be anything you do today and just expand on it, right? Like really take the initiative to showcase those skills. We love personalities over skill sets. You can teach skill sets, you can teach job functions.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That wraps up our time with you today. Check out Prog Leasing at jobs.progleasing.com. Progressive Leasing. We are also known as Prog Leasing. So we hope to see you in the future. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you, Jorge, Josie, and Jay.
Thank you guys for joining us. It was so great to hear from you. And please, if you haven't, connect with them at the network button below. And of course, you can apply to any of their jobs below as well. Again, thank you so much.